Hi students, in this class we briefly discuss about vectors. So before going to know about vectors, first we discuss about physical quantity. So what is meant by physical quantity? A quantity which can be measurable. So that is said to be a physical quantity. All measurable quantities are said to be physical quantities. Example for this physical quantity is length, mass, time, temperature, etc. So these all are the measurable quantities. So these all are called physical quantities. So these physical quantities are classified into different types. Out of them, we will learn about two types. In that, one is scalar physical quantities. Simply call it as a scalars. And second one is vector physical quantities. Simply call it as a vectors. So why physical quantities classified into two types? Means to express some physical quantities, magnitude is sufficient. So for example, you take height of a person. Height. Suppose we are saying height h is equal to 160 centimeters, or we can define it as a 1.6 meter. So it is sufficient. But to express some physical quantities in additional to magnitude, we need a direction. For example, how far bus stand from your home? So maybe 2 kilometers or 1 kilometer you can give magnitude. So in any direction if you go, we will get a bus stand. No, in specific direction only go, then only we can get a bus stand. So that means to express some physical quantities, we need in additional to magnitude direction. So that's why physical quantities divided into some types. In that, one is scalar physical quantity, second one is vector physical quantity. Scalar physical quantities means physical quantities are having only magnitude are called scalar physical quantities. And these follow simple algebraic rules. Simple algebra. Vectors. Physical quantities are having both magnitude and direction, as well as they obey vector laws. These physical quantities are said to be vectors. Example for the scalar physical quantities. Scalar physical quantities examples are mass, length, time, distance, speed, etc. Example for vector physical quantities. Example displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, momentum, etc. So these are the examples for scalars and vector physical quantities. Generally, vectors are represented with alphabet overheaded with arrow. A bar is said to be a vector quantity. In same manner, F bar Here F force is a vector quantity. V bar is said to be velocity is a vector quantity. In this arrow, length of the arrow gives the magnitude and head gives the direction of the vector. That is representation of vector. For example, you take velocity. So velocity of a car is equal to 50 kilometer per hour east. In this, kilometer per hour is a magnitude and east is the direction. Here, this kilometer per hour is said to be magnitude and east is said to be direction. So, if you consider only 50 kilometer per hour, this 50 kilometer per hour is said to be a speed because speed is a scalar quantity, no need of direction. So, from this we conclude that magnitude of vector is a scalar quantity. Magnitude of vector is a scalar quantity. Here, different types of vectors are there. In that, one is like vectors. Like vectors means vectors are in same direction. Next, unlike vectors. Vectors are in opposite directions are said to be unlike vectors or anti-parallel vectors. Equal vectors. Equal vector means if two vectors are in same direction with same magnitude is said to be equal vectors. Negative vector. Negative vector means equal in magnitude but acting in opposite direction. Those are said to be negative vectors. Next, co-initial. Two vectors are having same initial point. Those are said to be co-initial vectors. Co-terminus, same final point. Then those are said to be co-terminus vectors. Coplanar, vectors are acting in a same plane. Those are said to be coplanar vectors. Collinear. Collinear vector means vectors which are parallel to straight line. Those are said to be collinear vectors. These are some types of vectors. Next, another vector, null vector or zero vector. Null or zero means the vector whose magnitude is equal to 0 is said to be a null vector. The direction of null vector is not determined. Next, proper vector. Proper vector means vector whose magnitude is not equal to 0. These vectors are said to be proper vectors. Here, magnitude of vector is equal to 0. Next, position vector. To specify the position of a particle, we need a one coordinate system. The coordinate system is a Cartesian coordinate system. That Cartesian coordinate system consists of three mutual perpendicular axes, named it as x, y, and z axis. Actually, z axis is perpendicular to both x and y axis like this, but it is not possible to draw. That's why I am representing like this. This is x axis, y axis, and z axis. Here we are taking three unit vectors. Sir, what is meant by unit vector? Unit vector means the vector whose magnitude is equal to 1 unit. Vector whose magnitude is equal to 1 unit, that is said to be unit vectors. Unit vectors are generally represented with caps. A cap. A cap is equal to A bar by magnitude of A bar. Any vector is divided with its magnitude, we get a unit vector. So here to represent directions x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, we use three unit vectors. One is I cap, second one is j cap, third one is k cap. I cap is the unit vector along x-axis, j cap is the unit vector along y-axis, k cap is the unit vector along z-axis. K cap. Here I cap, and this one is j cap. Suppose if the particle is in a negative x-axis, then we can take negative I cap minus I cap. Particle is in a negative y-axis minus j cap. In a negative z-axis minus k cap, we can use. These are the unit vectors. Generally, here they will give one point. So one particle is here. So its position is taken as a point x comma y comma z. Then how can we write that point in vector notation? Suppose this point is taken as a P, this intersection point is taken as a origin. The line joining origin and that point P is taken as a position vector. This is represents position vector. The line joining origin and point. So this is position vector. So generally position vectors are represented with R bar. In this R bar, which is equal to OP bar. OP bar is equal to, we can write here, first one is x coordinate, x into I cap plus y into j cap plus z into k cap. We can write a position vector for a given point. Here, this is position vector for a given point. Next, how to find magnitude of this position vector? So simply we can find magnitude of position vector. Magnitude of OP bar is equal to under root of x square plus y square plus z square. This is called magnitude of vector. So for example, they given one point like this 2 comma minus 3 comma minus 6. So write in position vector. Its position vector is 2 I cap minus 3j cap minus 6k cap. Its magnitude is equal to magnitude of vector under root of 2 square plus of minus 3 whole square plus of minus 6 whole square we can write. So which is equal to under root of 2 square is equal to 4, 3 square is equal to 9, 6 square is equal to 36 under root of 49, which is equal to 7 we can get. In this way we can find the magnitude for a given vector. So magnitude of given vector is equal to 7 units. Suppose a particle is initially at a point P. Its coordinates are x1, y1, z1. It moves from this point P to point Q. The coordinates of point Q are x2, y2, z2. Then find the displacement vector. How to draw displacement vector? The line joining initial and final point is gives the displacement vector. Here displacement vector is equal to PQ bar. Displacement PQ bar. So this PQ bar, how can we get a PQ bar? To get the PQ bar, first we should draw line from O to point P, which gives OP bar, and again we can draw a line from O to Q, which gives OQ bar vector. This one is said to be R1 bar, and this one is taken as a R2 bar. Then position vector is represented by a letter R bars, or otherwise you take this is taken as a S bar. In this we can write to reach this point Q from the point O, we select any one of the path. One is R1 bar plus S bar, or we can travel from O to Q along this path, which is equal to R2 bar. So R1 bar plus S bar is equal to R2 bar. From this S bar is equal to, we can write R2 bar minus R1 bar. So this R2 bar, we can write R2 bar is equal to OQ bar, and R1 bar is equal to OP bar, PQ bar is equal to S bar. So These are the position vector. S bar is equal to PQ bar. So from this we can write PQ bar is equal to OQ bar minus OP bar. So from this OQ bar is equal to, we can write R2 bar minus R1 bar. So first we should write a position vector of the R2 and position vector of R1. So R2 bar position vector is equal to, its coordinates are x2, y2, z2. That's why x2 into I cap plus y2 into j cap plus z2 into k cap, formula minus R1. R1 is equal to x1 into I cap plus y1 into j cap plus z1 into k cap. So which is equal to x2 minus x1 into I cap plus y2 minus y1 into j cap plus z2 minus z1 into k cap we can write. In this way, we can write the displacement vector. Suppose one point, a particle is at a point P. The coordinates of point P are x comma y comma z. Then position vector of this point, position vector we can get like this. OP bar is equal to xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. This is the position vector. So already we know how to find the magnitude of position vector. Magnitude of position vector, magnitude of OP bar is equal to under root of x square plus y square plus z square. Suppose this OP bar making an angle alpha with x axis, making an angle beta with y axis, and making an angle gamma with z axis. Then how can we find the angle between given vector and x axis? To calculate that, we should use directional cosines. From that, the angle between x axis and given vector, angle between x axis and given vector, to calculate it, cos alpha is equal to x coordinate by x by, we can write under root of x square plus y square plus z square. The angle between given vector and y axis, if it is making an angle beta, so for that cos beta is equal to y by under root of x square plus y square plus z square. And similarly cos gamma is equal to z divided by under root of x square plus y square plus z square. So these cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma are called directional cosines. Simply call it as a this is. So directional cosines to calculate angle between given vector and x axis, to calculate angle between given vector and y axis, angle between given vector and z axis. So from this squaring and adding these three, then we can get cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma is equal to 1. In same manner, we know sin square theta plus cos square theta equal to 1. If you substitute instead of cos square alpha 1 minus sin square alpha and simplify, then we get sin square alpha plus sin square beta plus sin square gamma is equal to 1. Sorry, sin square gamma is equal to 2 nana. So this is the way to calculate angle between given vector and x axis, y axis and z axis. Suppose vector is in a xy plane. In this case, how to calculate angle? From this, if you draw one perpendicular line from the point onto the x axis, its length is equal to y meters and its length is equal to x meters. So this is equal to x and this one is equal to y. So to calculate angle between given vector and x-axis. So we should use this formula. Tan alpha is equal to y coordinate by x coordinate. Here we should take magnitude of y coordinate by magnitude of x coordinate only we should take to calculate the angle. In same manner, we want to calculate angle between given vector and y-axis. Given vector and y-axis to calculate, we should draw one perpendicular line from the point P to y-axis. From that, this length is equal to x meters. So, tan beta is equal to from this x coordinate by y coordinate we can write. So, this is the formula to calculate here. Suppose here the given one vector a bar is equal to I cap plus j cap they given. Then find the angle between given vector and x-axis. So angle between given vector and x-axis, to calculate this we should use tan alpha. Tan alpha is equal to y coordinate by x coordinate. Sorry, here what is the y coordinate value? No, y coordinate means here nothing is there, means here y coordinate value is equal to 1. Nothing is there means x coordinate value is also equal to 1. We have to calculate like this. X coordinate is equal to 1, y coordinate is equal to 1. But what about z coordinate? Z component is not there. That means we should write plus 0 into k cap. Some of the students are getting confusion. If they given I cap means there is no x coordinate, or j cap means there is no y coordinate. No, I cap means that is 1 I cap. J cap means 1 j cap. So no need to say 1 I cap, 1 j cap. Simply you write I cap or j cap. So here tan alpha is equal to y coordinate by x coordinate. Here y coordinate 1, x coordinate is also equal to 1. Tan alpha is equal to 1. From that we can write alpha is equal to 45 degree. So the angle between given vector and x-axis is equal to 45 degree. Given vector and y-axis is also equal to 45 degree. But what about given vector and z-axis? So to calculate that we should use cos alpha. Suppose they given only two coordinates x and y coordinates given, then we should go in this method. If they given I cap, j cap, k cap, so xi cap plus yj cap, zk cap they given. So in that way, to calculate angle between given vector and x-axis, or angle between given vector and y-axis, given vector and z-axis, we should use directional cosines. Cos alpha is equal to cos beta equal to cos gamma is equal to we should use here. And sir, how to measure angles? So measuring of angle is also important here. Generally in problems they are giving north of east to south of east they are giving. How to calculate north of east, south of east? So before going to that, here we see angle between two vectors. How to measure angle between two vectors? Suppose this is taken as a vector a bar and this one is taken as a vector b bar. In this case, two tails are coincide. If two tails are coincide or two heads are coincide, this is one vector, this is another vector. Two heads are coincide. In both cases, interior angle is taken as the angle between two vectors. Here, this angle is taken as the angle between two vectors. Here, this angle is taken as the angle between two vectors. Suppose one head and one tail is coincide. This is one vector and another vector is coincide like this. One head and one tail is coincide. Then exterior angle is taken as a angle between two vectors. This angle is taken as a angle between two vectors. Or suppose you take like this. This is one vector and this one is another vector. In this case, you extend any one vector to back. So you extend this vector to back and angle between these two, exterior angle is taken as angle between these two vectors. Next, here they given east and this one is taken as north, south and west. So sometimes vector making a certain angle. Suppose this vector making an angle 30 degrees with east. How to read this 30 degree? This 30 degree we can read 30 degree north of east. read it as a 30 degree north of east. Means it is making an angle 30 degrees with east towards north. Sir, sometimes they will give southeast. The vector is in southeast. Okay, and the vector is in southeast or vector is in northwest. Vector is in northwest or southeast. What is the meaning of southeast and northwest? Means if they given like this, the vector making equal angle with south and east. Here, vector making equal angle. Equal angle means it making an angle 45 degrees with east and 45 degrees with south. This is the meaning of southeast. Okay, అండి నార్త్ వెస్ట్ మీన్స్ ద వెక్టర్ మేకింగ్ ఈక్వల్ యాంగిల్ విత్ నార్త్ అండ్ వెస్ట్. సో ఈక్వల్ యాంగిల్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ మేకింగ్ an angle 45 degrees with west, 45 degrees with north. So in this way we can calculate. Suppose they given 30 degrees south of west they given. So how to represent this 30 degrees south of west? So to represent this one, we should take first directions. This is south and this one is west. Here 30 degree south of west means here the vector making an angle 30 degrees with west towards the south. We can represent like this. In this way, we can measure the angle between two vectors and we can represent the angle between two vectors. Suppose vector a bar is equal to xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. Now, any vector is multiplied with a scalar quantity. You take k is a scalar quantity, k into a bar. So, which is equal to k times of x1 into I cap plus y1 into j cap plus z1 into k cap we can write. So for example, they given one vector a bar is equal to 2I cap plus 3j cap plus 4k cap. This multiplied with a 2. So then 2a bar is equal to 2 2s are 4I cap plus 2 3s are 6j cap plus 2 4s are 8k cap. We can write like this. Any vector is multiplied with a scalar quantity. Again the resultant is a vector quantity. Any vector is divided with a scalar quantity, then also it is a vector quantity. So that means a bar divided by k is equal to, then we can write 1 by k into x1 into I cap plus y1 into j cap plus z1 into k cap. Here we multiply with some constant value. K stands for constant. If any vector is multiplied or divided with a scalar quantity, its resultant is a vector quantity. And next, here suppose they given two vectors a bar and b bar. If a bar and b bar are parallel vectors, a bar and b bar are parallel vectors. Sir, what is the condition for parallel vectors? So condition for parallel vectors, the ratio of x coordinates is equal to ratio of y coordinates, which is equal to ratio of z coordinates. This ratio is same, then those two vectors said to be parallel vectors. Or we can write a bar is equal to some constant into b bar, or we can write b bar is equal to some constant into a bar we can write. This is the condition for parallel vectors. Suppose these two vectors are given two vectors and they may ask calculate the vector c bar whose magnitude is equal to magnitude of a bar and in the direction of b bar. Here how to calculate in the direction of b bar? So its magnitude is equal to magnitude of a bar into, to get the direction of b bar, simply multiply with unit vector of b bar. So c bar is equal to a bar into b cap. So the vector c bar magnitude is equal to magnitude of a bar and is in the direction of b bar like this. So magnitude of a bar already we know how to calculate, under root of x1 square plus y1 square plus z1 square and b cap is equal to x2 I cap plus y2 j cap plus z2 k cap divided by its magnitude is equal to under root of x2 square plus y2 square plus z2 square. In this way we can do it. This is one method. And the next, resolution of vector. So what is meant by resolution of vector? In right angle triangles, we know very well. Suppose they given two sides. Easily we can calculate third side. Suppose this value 4 and this value they given 5. Then what is hypotenuse value? We know hypotenuse is equal to under root of 3 square plus 4 square. If we simplify, we will get 5. Suppose they given only hypotenuse, then how can you resolve this into two perpendicular components? They given hypotenuse value. So why we need to resolve that hypotenuse into two perpendicular components? For example, one object is placed on a inclined plane. One object is placed on a inclined plane like this. Here, this object height of inclination increases. This object slides down. Why it is sliding down? Actually, according to Newton's law, Newton's laws, no external force act on the body. It continues to be at rest or in the state of uniform motion. Initially, we kept at rest. Suppose if you increase the angle of inclination, the body starts sliding down. Why it is sliding down? Which force is acting downward direction? Actually, on this block only weight is acting downward direction. Why it is coming down means the component of weight is acting along direction of the inclined plane. So this component, okay, and one component is acting perpendicular to inclined plane. So this component balance the normal reaction. Actually, normal reaction is acting in this direction. It is sliding along the inclined plane. That means another force is acting down opposite direction to normal reaction. So that's why here this weight mg is resolved into two perpendicular components. Like here also, if you know hypotenuse, but how can you get two sides? To get the two sides, we resolve any vector into two mutual perpendicular components. Call it as a resolution of vector. How can we resolve it into two perpendicular components? Well known thing in that generally we know from this right angle triangle, you take it as a theta. Here ABC is a right angle triangle. In this ABC, the side which is opposite to 90 degrees is taken as a hypotenuse. This is hypotenuse. The side which is opposite to angle is taken as a opposite side, and another one is adjacent side. So the relation between angle on these sides given by the trigonometric functions. From this, sine theta is equal to, we can write formula opposite side by hypotenuse. From this, opposite side is equal to hypotenuse into sine theta. In same manner, cos theta is equal to adjacent side by hypotenuse. So here adjacent side is equal to hypotenuse into cos theta we can write. So if you know hypotenuse and one angle, then easily we can resolve it into two perpendicular components. If take a coordinate system, in this coordinate system vector is there. Suppose if it is a vector, magnitude is equal to a bar. If it is making an angle theta with x-axis, then for this you close this one, it forms a one right angle triangle. Here you draw one more perpendicular, here it forms another right angle triangle. From this side is equal to, we can write a cos theta, and this side is equal to a sin theta. Why? Because here it making an angle theta with x-axis. Suppose they give another problem like this. In this another problem, here this vector making an angle theta with vertical, if it is making an angle theta with vertical, the component along the vertical is equal to, component along the vertical is a cos theta, and component along the horizontal is a sin theta. So this resolution of vector depends on angle between given vector and given axis. Suppose this vector is like this. Suppose one vector is like this, it making an angle 30 degree. So suppose its value is taken as 15 Newton. 15 Newton force is acting like this. Okay. Then how can you write this 15 Newton into components? So here magnitude F is equal to 15 Newton. They given F is equal to 15 Newton. This 15 Newton making an angle 30 degrees with x-axis. I want force vector. How to write force vector? So first we should resolve this 15 into two component. This component is 15 into cos 30 and this component is 15 into sin 30. So 50 into sin 30 degrees value we know 1 by 2, which is equal to 25, and cos 30 is equal to we know root 3 by 2. If we divide this one 25 root 3 we can get. So from this we can write force vector F bar is equal to this component is along negative axis direction. This component is along negative x axis direction. So we can write minus 25 root 3 into I cap minus 25 into j cap. Like we can write any vector is divided into two mutually perpendicular components is called resolution of vector. Like we can resolve any vector into two perpendicular components. Between vectors addition, subtraction, multiplication. So now we see in that vector addition possible. Any vector added with vector which is possible. Vector division is subtraction is also possible. Vector multiplication possible. But vector added with a scalar which is not possible. Vector is subtracted from the scalar, or scalar is subtracted from the vector which is not possible, and vector multiplies with a scalar which is possible, and vector is divided with a scalar which is also possible, but vector division which is not possible. Okay, and out of these two, any two vectors we can add, any two vectors we can subtract, any two vectors we can multiply, but any two vectors we cannot divide, which is not possible. To divide only scalar division only possible. Next, any vector added to scalar which is not possible, any vector or any scalar is subtracted from the vector which is not possible, vector is multiplied with a scalar, vector is divided with a scalar, these are the possibles. So based on this addition of vector, three type of additions of vectors are there. In that first one is triangle of vector addition. In the triangle of vector addition, two vectors are taken as two sides of a triangle taken in the order. These two are taken as two vectors. One is taken as a bar and the second one is taken as a b bar. The resultant of these two vectors, the resultant sum of these two, a bar plus b bar, is given by the closing side of the triangle but in a reverse direction. So the resultant of these two vector is given by closing side but in a reverse direction. So which is equal to c bar. So magnitude of a bar plus b bar is equal to c bar. Sometimes they will give these two vectors and find the length of the third vector. To calculate length of the third vector, we should add these two and find its magnitude. It gives the magnitude of third vector, a bar plus b bar we can do. Or otherwise, sometimes we can write same formula like this. So we are starting from point 1 point. One vector is going like this and another vector is going like this. Third vector is either in this direction or opposite direction. Suppose we are starting, this vector is going along our direction, take it as positive, go in this direction and go in this direction. So along same direction, the sum of these three vectors is equal to 0. These three vectors are taken as a cyclic order. The resultant of these three vectors is equal to 0. Like we can take. What about vector subtraction? Subtraction is nothing but one type of addition only. So this is vector a bar, and to subtract b bar from this, simply you reverse the direction of b bar, then we can get minus b bar. Simply reverse the direction. So the resultant of these two vectors, a bar plus of minus b bar, this is the resultant. So plus into minus, which is equal to a bar minus b bar. So this resultant is given by the closing side of the triangle, but in a reverse order. This given by the resultant of these two vectors. So which is equal to c bar, or this is equal to c bar, we can write. So subtraction is also one type of addition. Next here, polygon law is there. Polygon law. So n vectors are taken as sides of a polygon in order. You take some vectors are taken as the sides of a polygon in order. So the resultant of all these vectors is given by the closing side of the polygon, but in a reverse direction. If you take in this way, that is cyclic order, we are taking reverse direction. So the resultant, the sum of all these vectors is equal to this one. The vector sum of these vectors, all these vectors is equal to vector this vector. So that is a polygon law. And the next one is a parallelogram law of vector addition. So this parallelogram law of vector addition, already we know something. Here, what is parallelogram law, and here formulas are there. In general, if two forces are acting in same direction, simply we can add them. Suppose two forces are acting in a opposite direction, we can subtract. Suppose two forces are making certain angle, then how can you find their resultant? So to find their resultant, we should use parallelogram law of vector addition. In this parallelogram law of vector addition, two vectors, one is taken as P and another one is taken as Q. The angle between these two vectors is taken as theta. The resultant of these two vectors is given by the r bar is equal to, we can write p bar plus q bar. So here magnitude of these two vectors, magnitude of p bar plus q bar is equal to, we can do like this by using this formula, under root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta, where theta is angle between p bar and q bar. If two vectors are making certain angle, we take this formula to find the resultant. So here resultant r bar is equal to, or we can write r is equal to under root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. Suppose they given p value, q value and r value, then how can you find angle between p bar and q bar? To calculate angle between p bar and q bar, we should use this formula. Cos theta is equal to r square minus p square minus q square by 2pq. This is the formula. So two vectors are making certain angle with each other. The resultant is always lies between them. So this is the direction of the resultant. So suppose this resultant making an angle alpha with p bar. How can you calculate angle between resultant vector and p bar? We should use this formula to calculate angle between resultant and p bar. Tan alpha is equal to q sin theta by p plus q cos theta, we can use. Suppose we want to calculate angle between q bar and resultant. This angle is taken as a beta. To calculate beta value, we should use this formula. Tan beta is equal to P sin theta by Q plus P cos theta. Q plus P cos theta we can take. So these are the formulas. Two vectors are making certain angle. To find the resultant, R is equal to root over P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta is the formula. From this, squaring on both sides and simplify, then we get cos theta is equal to R square minus P square minus Q square by 2PQ. So to calculate the angle between resultant and P bar, we should use tan alpha is equal to Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. Angle between resultant and Q bar is equal to tan beta is equal to P sin theta by Q plus P cos theta we can get. Multiplication of vector. Multiplication of vectors are two types. One is dot product, second one is cross product. This dot product is also called scalar product. So why? Because if two vectors are multiplied, the resultant is a scalar quantity. That product is called scalar product. If two vectors are multiplied, resultant is a vector quantity. This product is said to be vector product. Suppose they given two vectors a bar and b bar. How to calculate dot product between these two vectors? The dot product between two vectors a bar and b bar is defined as a bar dot b bar is equal to product of magnitude of two vectors and cosine of angle between them. So we can write a bar dot b bar is equal to a bar ab cos theta. So here we can write a bar dot b bar is equal to ab cos theta we can use. In same way, the cross product between two vectors a bar cross b bar we can write like this. Product of magnitude of two vectors and sine of angle between them. But here magnitude of a bar is scalar quantity, magnitude of b bar is scalar quantity, sine theta is also a scalar quantity. But we said if two vectors are multiplied, we get a vector quantity. That's why we should multiply with n cap, where n cap is a unit vector. The direction of unit vector is perpendicular to plane containing an a bar and b bar. Suppose AB is in a xy plane. This n cap is in a z axis direction. AB is in YZ plane. This n cap is in a x axis direction. Like we can define a dot product and a cross product. From this, magnitude of a bar cross b bar is equal to magnitude of a bar cross b bar is equal to AB sin theta we can get. That is magnitude of a bar cross b bar. Suppose if you take theta is equal to 0 degree, theta 0 degree means dot product between two vectors is maximum. A bar dot b bar is equal to AB, which is maximum. And if two vectors are parallel, parallel means theta is equal to 0, then cross product between two vectors is equal to 0. If theta is equal to 90 degree, theta 90 degree, then the dot product between two vectors is equal to 0. If two vectors are perpendicular, then their dot product is equal to 0. If two vectors are perpendicular, then their cross product is maximum. Magnitude of cross product is equal to AB, which is maximum. So we can get like this. Example for the dot product is work done is equal to F bar dot S bar. We can write power P is equal to F bar dot V bar. We can write. Okay. In same way, kinetic energy Ke is equal to we can write of M into V bar dot V bar. We can write the loss. Same here cross product. Cross product we can write torque tau is equal to R bar cross F bar we can write. Next angular momentum L is equal to R bar plus P bar we can write. Like we can write some example for the cross product. Now in this two vectors are perpendicular, then their dot product is equal to 0. That's why here I cap dot I cap is equal to I cap dot I is equal to 1. j cap dot j cap is equal to 1 and k cap dot k cap is equal to 1. In same manner, I dot j is equal to 0, j dot k is equal to 0, k dot I is equal to 0, because these are the perpendicular vectors. Dot product between them is equal to 0. Sorry, no, here k dot k is equal to 1. In same way, how to find cross product? In case of cross, I cross I is equal to 0, j cross j is equal to 0, k cross k is equal to 0. But we can say I cross j is equal to k. Next order, j cross k is equal to I. Next order, k cross I is equal to j cap. We can write I j k, j k I, k I j. Suppose if you take reverse, j cap cross I cap is equal to minus k cap, k cross j is equal to minus I cap. Same way, I cross k is equal to minus j cap. We can write. Suppose they are given two vectors, a bar is equal to x1 I cap plus y1 j cap plus z1 k cap, b bar is equal to x2 I cap plus y2 j cap plus z2 k cap. Then how to calculate dot product? While calculating dot product, simply we can multiply x coordinates, x1 into x2. I dot I is equal to 1. We can get x1 into x2. If you multiply these two, becomes 0. In same way, we can calculate y1 into y2, j dot j equal to 1. In same way, z1 into z2. Here no I cap, no j cap, no k cap will come. Simply multiply x coordinates, y coordinate and z coordinate with proper signs. Depends on the signs also we have to calculate. Next, calculating cross product. So we want to calculate a bar cross b bar. First you write I cap, j cap, k cap. Next, x coordinate of a bar, y coordinate, j coordinate. Second vector x, y, z coordinates you write like this. Here multiplying cross product, a bar cross b bar is equal to, first we should write I cap into, leave this column and row. Then we get only 4 elements. What are the 4 elements? In that way we can get y1, y2 and z1, z2. First we multiply, cross multiply these like this, and y1 into z2, right, minus, again you multiply like this, z1 into y2 we can get, minus j cap into, again we can write minus j cap into. Now leave this column and row, then we can get 4 elements. Those are x1, x2 into z1, z2. Again you multiply like this. So then we can get x1, z2, minus z1, x2 plus k cap into, we can get these 4 elements, then we can write x1 y2 minus y1 x2. In this we take coordinates with proper signs and multiply carefully, then we can get a cross product. Here we got I cap, j cap, k cap. That's why if two vectors are multiplied, resultant is vector quantity is said to be cross product. Two vectors are multiplied, resultant is scalar quantity, that is said to be dot product. Okay, na? So these are the major points about vectors.